Welcome back. The economic survey has been presented, tabled in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and besides giving us a growth estimate of 8 to 8.5% and saying that there is fiscal space for capex growth, it gives us precious little in terms of a peep into what we might expect in the budget. We've been speaking with the former chairman of the Statistics Commission, Dr. Pranab Sen, and Soumya, Ghosh, the chief economic advisor from State Bank of India. Dr. Sen, you said that an expenditure budget of 39-40 lakh crore is a pretty large number compared to 26 lakh crore just 3 years ago. Now, if I looked at the tax growth numbers, this year has been a fantastic year for the government. It estimated a 16.7% growth in taxes. As of now, it looks like they will end up with a 27% growth in taxes. These are advantages of an early cycle growth from India Inc., as well as perhaps fuel taxes. Now, this year, the fuel taxes have already been cut, and there is a larger base for India Inc. Do you think assuming a double-digit tax growth is par for the course, is legit, you will accept it?
In this coming year, perhaps yes, Lata.
Okay.
Because I do expect the growing dominance of the corporate sector to continue. It's going to take time for the MSME sector to gear itself up and present the kind of competitive challenge that it has done in the past. So there's going to be increasing sort of pricing power in the hands of the corporates. And so that may actually help tax collections quite substantially. Okay. And that would be also of income tax. So GST, corporate tax, income tax, all of them are driven by roughly the same set of factors.
Okay.
So yes, I think there's certainly room to assume.
Okay, so you are practically supporting what Soumya has given us in his echo rap. I think, Soumya, you're going with the 11% tax kitty growth. Do you worry that if this kind of a borrowing program is put before the market, bond market, Soumya, a 13 lakh crore borrowing program, the bond markets will be able to stomach it, you think? I mean, we're already running at 6.78. Yields have risen by 25 to 30 basis points just in the month of January. So what can the market stomach by way of government borrowing?
No, I think, Lata, the markets cannot stomach, because if I just give you a very small example, the pre-pandemic, the repo rate was, I think, around 5.515%, and the 10-year yield was moving in 6.4 to 6.8. Today, the repo is at 4, and the 10-year yields are already at 6.7 to 6.8, is at the pre-pandemic level. So that shows that the bond market is unlikely to digest a larger borrowing program. Say any number in excess of 12 lakh crores will be a significant negative for the bond markets. But the important point to note is that the government and the RBI is fully cognizant of that. Today only they have done switches of around 1.15 lakh crores, of which 60,000 crores which has been done next year. So if in very simple terms, that means that the government is trying to shift the redemption burden at a future date so that it can bring down its gross borrowing. So that, I think, the government will have to do this, and the RBI will have to do these innovative things in the future, because you don't forget that the oil bond redemption is coming up 1 year after this, from FY24. So if I add all this scenario in toto, I think the bond market is unlikely to see any respite from a larger or from a smaller government program, at least in the next couple of years.
Okay. All right, 12 lakh crore, though I'm finding it a little difficult. If you are assuming an expenditure of 40 lakh crore, then even with a double-digit tax growth, maybe of 10% or 11%, that still leaves a large gap in terms of financing. Okay, very quickly, sir, the Chief Economic Advisor is coming. Last thoughts before we cut to the Chief Economic Advisor. Dr. Sen, what would you want to hear in the budget?
Well, so far as the budget is concerned, I don't want to say anything.
Okay.
What I do want to know is what the government recognizes as the challenges. I don't really care what it sees as the positive features of the economy, but what the challenges are, because that's what the budget is supposed to address.
And what would you want them to recognize?
What I would want them to recognize is that there has been a serious erosion in the standing of the informal and MSME sectors. There's been a serious deterioration in income distributions, and something needs to be done about it, and done very quickly.
Okay. Well, sir, we'll wait and see. Thank you very much, Dr. Sen and Soumya, for joining us. It's over to the new Chief Economic Advisor, Anant Nageshwaran, who is just about to speak his maiden press conference as Chief Economic Advisor. I think he's going to cut to the chase in just a second.
Budget which follows the day after. The survey contains new ideas and visions for the future, for which I have with us the Chief Economic Advisor, Shri V. Anant Nageshwaran, Principal Economic Advisor, Shri Sanjeev Sanyal, Economic Advisor, Shri Rajiv Mishra, Economic Advisor, Ms. Chandini Raina, and Economic Advisor, Ms. Manisha Sen Sharma. Today's press conference will go as follows. First, the Chief Economic Advisor will make his opening remarks, followed by a PowerPoint presentation by the Principal Economic Advisor, and afterwards we'll take question and answer session. Over to the Chief Economic Advisor. We have to get up and release it.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I am Anant Nageshwaran, the new Chief Economic Advisor, and it's my great pleasure and honor to be joined by my colleagues from the Economics Division. The Economic Survey, as you know very well, for 21-22 has been compiled by my old friend and new colleague, Sanjeev Sanyal, and his team of advisors who are on either side of me. So naturally, they are going to be walking you through the Economic Survey and its key highlights. I would just point out that as a small preview, the overall theme of the Economic Survey, as has been the theme of the policies that the government has pursued, especially in these COVID years. The government has pursued a four-pronged approach: short-term support to the economy, especially to the vulnerable sections during these uncertain times, while keeping a firm eye on the medium-term fiscal stability. At the same time, never to let go of the opportunity that a crisis provides to initiate structural and supply-side reforms. The government has undertaken several measures as well. At the same time, as Sanjeev would walk you through, there has been considerable attention and emphasis on process reforms as well. So these are the four pillars of the government's approach in dealing with the COVID pandemic and also to prepare the economy for a post-pandemic world. So without much further ado, I would like to hand over the stage to my colleague, Sanjeev. Thank you.